Hi everyone, Heather here with Astrology with Heather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is for Monday, June 24th, all the way through to Sunday, June 30th of 2019. And we're already at the end of the month and we're entering into eclipse season. And so I'm calling this video this week the calm before the eclipse because that's essentially what this is. There's not a ton of crazy energy going on this week. We do have some energy at the start of the week with Venus coming into square with Neptune, which is highlighting that Jupiter-Neptune square. Venus actually opposes Jupiter on Sunday, so just after this video is posted, which I believe I discussed very briefly last week, but we have Venus at the start of this week highlighting the T-square between Jupiter and Neptune. However, when we're dealing with the two benefic planets, even in square, it's going to bring benefits. It's not all going to be bad. There can be definitely an energy of exaggeration and manipulation and deceit, especially because Venus is in the sign of Gemini, which is a very playful, flirtatious, fun, childlike energy in relationships and in our connections with people that can be brought in through Venus in this placement. However, there is another side to Gemini, right? There's two sides because Gemini is the twins. And so Gemini is a sign that can be manipulative. It can be a little bit two-faced in the sense of, showing up as one person in one situation and then showing up completely differently in another situation. And sometimes, that energy is not malicious. It's just kind of an energy of either adapting to social situations or just kind of doing things just to see what will happen because they're curious with Venus in the sign of Gemini. But there is that energy with Gemini of manipulation and potentially saying one thing to one person and then saying something else completely to somebody different, right? And so there is that energy. And then we have this square going on here with Neptune. Neptune rules delusion, deceit, lies, fantasy. And so it could be that we could be on the receiving end of some sort of manipulation or some sort of deception, or with Neptune in the mix, there's always the possibility that we're deceiving ourselves when it comes to an important relationship or an important situation in our lives this week. So at the start of this week, there's an energy where we're going to be feeling very compassionate, very loving, very connected to the people that we come into contact with. It's a very imaginative, creative energy, very spiritually oriented. It's a great time to connect with people who have similar spiritual paths, or to connect with people on a deeper soul level, or to do things that are very altruistic and very charitable for the people that we care about in our lives. So it's a very compassionate, very empathic sort of energy in our relationships. But it's also an energy where we could go a little overboard, where we could be overly compassionate or overly empathic, and maybe we feel so deeply for the people in our lives that we martyr ourselves on their behalf, or we give too much and we feel guilty and have difficulty saying no. It could also be an energy, like I said before, where we're kidding ourselves a little bit, where we're ignoring the reality of the circumstances going on in this area of our lives being impacted, at the expense of our own well-being, because we want to see people in this more idealistic, beautiful light. Like, we want to see people for their best qualities. But, if we neglect the opposite end of that, it can put us in a little bit of a predicament. So that's the energy at the start of this week. But really, you can utilize this very creatively and to form really deep connections with people, so long as you're keeping your feet on solid ground. And I would say that all of the Capricornian energy that's still really strong going on this week, the things that I was talking about the past couple of weeks, those are still present. We're coming into eclipse season. We're about to have a total solar eclipse in the sign of Cancer that will be occurring at the start of next week. And so that eclipse energy is very strong. We're already feeling it. It's already in effect. And we'll definitely get into that much more deeply as we come into next week's forecast. But this forecast is kind of going to be the calm before the eclipse. We're already moving into the eclipse. You can feel the energy building. You can feel like something is in the air, something is in the ether, something is developing, especially if this is coming into a close alignment in your chart, but it's not fully realized, or we can't see very clearly where things are going just yet. and we'll definitely get into that more next week. And if you are subscribed to my monthly astrology newsletter, you will be getting that a little bit later than normal. I decided to switch that from being a forecast for the zodiac season and switch it to the lunar month. And so I did that for a variety of reasons, but the main takeaway is that you'll be receiving that just in time for the eclipse season and the eclipse cycle, and it's going to be jam-packed with all sorts of different videos and tips and tricks and things like that that are related to the eclipses to help you navigate. So if you're not on that list, you can subscribe to my mailing list down in the link in the description below. I send typically just one email a month, sometimes two if I'm having something crazy, like a big event or something, or if there's something crazy going on in the astrology, but typically just one. So I don't like spamming people. Also, I don't have time to send them any emails. So anyway, that's what's going on there. And so let's just jump in here. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because this is a week where we get a little bit of a break. We don't have to worry so much about a lot of the craziness going on in the astrology. We're still feeling the effects of last week. We're feeling what's coming up next week. But, you know, for the most part, this is a time where we can kick back and relax. And this is sort of an indulgent energy where we can experience more pleasure, maybe overindulge a little bit, but maybe that's what we need right now. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to do things that feel good. That's another energy of that Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, right? Escaping into something that feels really good. And so that could be part of it too. And so before we get into the forecast for all 12 signs, I just have a couple of quick announcements. So first and foremost, I'm doing my Mastering Uranus webinar live on August 17th. And so we're going to go really deep into Uranus in the birth chart, Uranus in aspect to other planets, the Uranus cycle, transits from Uranus. We're going to everything about Uranus. We're going to cover it, and you're going to really understand how this outer planet works in your chart and how to utilize the energy in the best possible way when it comes up in a way that's maybe difficult, and to harness it in a positive way when that is available to you. And so the link to register is down in the description below. If you register now, you'll get 30% off. The price will go up after the live webinar. And that is part of my Mastering the Outer Planets series, which you can purchase right now for only $69. You'll get Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and I'm doing a bonus free webinar on Jupiter in the spring. So the link to do that is down in the description below as well. And then finally, if you are a Cancer sun sign, your solar return forecast is now available. You're in for a big one with eclipse season coming up. So hopefully this can help you to navigate a little bit more effectively throughout the year. It's a forecast, a general forecast for your entire year ahead based on your solar return and your birthday. So, all right, that is all of it. And let's get into the forecast now for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with the sign of Aries. All right, and so for Aries and Aries rising, you have Venus in Gemini in your third house of communication, and this is squaring Neptune, which is currently sitting in your 12th house. And so this is a really great time to have very spiritual, very creative communications with people, to connect with people in a way that's very compassionate and charitable and empathic, to dive deep into some form of spiritual study or exploration. That could be something that could be very exciting for you, and that could also be a really good break and a good rest from all of the difficult energy that might be going on for you right now. And so this week is the time to kick back, relax, decompress, to take a load off your mind, and to indulge in things on a mental level that might be like guilty pleasures. So like reading a trashy novel, or watching something on Netflix that you might not normally watch, or having a juicy conversation, maybe gossiping with some friends. That would be something that a Gemini third house person with Venus might enjoy. So connecting with somebody, in a way that's a little indulgent, that feels really good for you, and especially connecting in a mental level in that way. So maybe checking out a little bit on a mental level at the start of this week, and utilizing that mental energy for something fun, creative, some compassionate energy, or at the very least for, just talking with a friend and really, going wild with it, going off in crazy tangents and crazy directions, and that type of conversation where it goes someplace strange. But this is a really great time to again do that, to indulge on a mental level. All right, and then for Taurus and for Taurus rising, this energy is happening in your second house of finance and in your 11th house of friendship. You also have Jupiter in the in the 8th house as part of this configuration. But the main energy at the start of this week is going to be Venus squaring Neptune, and Venus is in your 2nd house, which is the house of material possessions. And so maybe this week you want to indulge in something in terms of like a major purchase, or purchasing something that's luxurious and that feels good, that you can indulge in, and that will help to provide you some sort of relief. This would be a really great time to purchase something or to connect in a way that gives you some sort of spiritual outlet, or some sort of outlet for relaxation and for escape. So like having a massage or something like that would be a really good thing that you could invest in this week, that could help you to escape, as long as the finances are there. There is a potential to overspend on luxury items right now. So just be sure that you're getting a good deal and that you have the finances there, but you can escape through material pleasures and through the sensory experience, and creating maybe a spiritual association with that sensory experience. So maybe even connecting to some sort of meditation around finance, or meditation around the sensory world, some sort of mindfulness meditation, where you're sitting and you're taking in the sights and the senses and the smells and the sounds that are around you. Those are all very Taurus things to do anyway. So that could be a really great way to indulge, and also escaping into your friendships, right? Experiencing some sort of pleasure, some sort of joy by connecting very compassionately with the people that you surround yourself with by choice. This would be a really great time to engage in some sort of group activity that's both spiritual, but also pleasurable, indulgent, and physical. So maybe even doing some sort of like group yoga class, or whatever it is that you enjoy doing, or a cooking class, or like a wine tasting. That would be very Neptunian, as long as you're not going overboard and overindulging in the Neptune, because that is the danger of this energy, is just overdoing it. But typically it will bring, positive energy. It will bring good things, even if it does bring a little bit of excess, or it causes you to have high expectations for things. Even if your expectations are higher than what is realistic when it comes to your finances or a big purchase this week, the end results will typically be positive. So it's a good week for that. And then for Gemini and Gemini rising, this energy is occurring in your 1st house, because this is in your sign, and it's in square with Neptune in Pisces in the 10th house. And so first off, when you have Venus transiting your sign, that's a time when you can feel much more beautiful, much more sensual, much more attractive, much more charismatic. And you might actually be more charismatic during this time too. So people might be more drawn to you. You might feel more like engaging in relationship or connecting with people, especially one-on-one. This is a great time for like beauty treatments and things like that. So long as you're not overdoing it. I wouldn't recommend making a big crazy change right now. Like if you're going to chop off all your hair or do something really wild, you might have really high expectations for the outcome, and it might not meet your expectations in terms of the way that it looks in reality. So, but making small things and small adjustments and indulging in beauty treatments on a minor level, that could be something that could be really nice and that could feel really good for you if that's something that you're into, or changing up your wardrobe or something along those lines as well. The energy with Neptune in your 10th house does indicate that there could potentially be some sort of misunderstanding that could be going on in your career, in your work environment. And, it's not necessarily that it's going to be a big, dramatic, terrible thing, but there's something you're not seeing clearly there. And maybe bouncing this off of somebody who you're close with or who you care about can really help you to gain insight and can really highlight what's going on. If there is some fogginess and confusion in your work and in your career, or maybe with your relationship with your bosses or something like that, that could be going on for you this week. And this is a great week, by the way, for creative pursuits in the workplace. So if there's something you've been wanting to do that's a little bit more on the creative side, or something you've been wanting to do through your work that's more charitable, like maybe you've been wanting to get your business involved in a charity, and this would be a great time to make some headway there. All right. And then for Cancer and for Cancer rising, this energy is happening in your 12th house of escape. So you have Venus in the 12th. And so this is a great time for you to escape with somebody that you care about. So maybe going on a spiritual retreat or going on a retreat in general, spending time in solitude, seclusion, in partnership with somebody though. So maybe, taking a friend out into the woods and going on a camping trip, going, for a spa day where you're kind of hiding yourself away from the world, attending some sort of spiritual conference or going to like a temple or a monastery or something, or visiting a spiritual site with a friend. And that could be something that could be really exciting, especially because you have Neptune in the 9th house of travel. So traveling to a place, doing some sort of like spiritual pilgrimage, even if it's on a small level, could be very exciting for you, and a really great way to escape from the day-to-day reality and to indulge a little bit, indulge your adventurous side, and indulge your spiritual curiosities, which is something that I think could be very fun for you. And especially if you involve other people in this, if you involve somebody that you care about, because that Venus energy really is conducive to that. But definitely experiencing pleasure by taking yourself out of the normal daily reality, escaping and indulging a little bit, especially at the start of this week, can be very fruitful. And there might be a little bit of laziness when it comes to your day-to-day routines and activities, and so you might almost have to, just because you can't really get your motivation going. All right, and then for Leo and for Leo rising. So this energy is happening in your 11th house of friendship with that Venus energy. And so this is a really great week to connect on a deep spiritual level with your friends and with the people that you surround yourself with by choice. So with your social networks, even via the internet, that's an 11th house thing. So through, social media, this is a great time to connect with people that you're really close with in your social circle. This is a really great time to connect with an organization that you're a part of, or to do something to create balance, or to indulge by escaping into your friendships and your social circle and focusing more on your friends and their needs a little bit more this week. Especially with that Neptune energy, you're going to be feeling really compassionate and loving toward the people that you surround yourself with by choice, and you can forge deeper bonds and connections on a spiritual soul level with the people that you care about. And with that Neptune energy coming from the 8th house, this is a time when you can form deep intimacy energetically and psychologically with those people. And so it's a great time for that. And this is a great time for giving back. With that Venus in the 11th house of humanitarian types of pursuits, altruistic endeavors, charity organizations and things like that can fall under that realm. And with that Neptunian energy, which is very charitable, you can find a charity that you're really passionate about. You can join an organization and you can give back. And so that would be like probably the highest expression of this energy, would be using this to give back to a cause that you care about, or to a group that you really care about. All right. And then for Virgo and for Virgo rising. This energy is happening in your 10th house of career and public status. And so this could be a good week career-wise, or you might have some high expectations for what's going on in your career, at least. You might be more likable and more charismatic when it comes to dealing with coworkers and bosses and people in your work environment. However, you might not see things quite so clearly when it comes to those specific relationships, and you might have really high expectations for something involving some sort of career goal or aspiration, or involving, maybe a raise or a promotion or some sort of important connection in your work. And so you do need to be mindful of that, because you might have overinflated expectations, but that doesn't mean that benefits can't come, because they usually will. And so you can have some really beneficial connections, especially one-on-one connections that are very compassionate and very creative too. You can have some connections that spark some creativity. And definitely this is a great week for teaming up with people for creative projects in your work. That would be something that could be very beneficial for you. You might be feeling a little bit lazy for some people when it comes to your day-to-day work experience, especially if you have your Virgo rising sign or your sun sign around that 18th degree. So that's anywhere really from like 15 to, let's say, 21 degrees. You'll be feeling this the most. And it might be a little bit of a floaty sort of, whatever energy. And if that's the case, indulge in that, right? Go with the flow, deal with the energy as it comes up. Don't try to overdo it or push yourself. This is a great week for just allowing things to flow when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your work, and when it comes to your home life too. So allowing things to just kind of flow and open up organically. And this is a great way for creating better balance in the workplace and with your work in general too. So if you've been really overdoing it in that area, you can take some time and kick back and indulge a little bit, and maybe create a better balance when it comes to home and work. Like your work-life balance might be coming under the microscope right now. All right, and then for Libra and for Libra rising, this week is a nice week for a lot of different things. You have this Venus energy happening in your 9th house of travel, and so this could be a great time for you to escape by indulging in some fun travel plans or an adventure, especially in partnership with somebody, going on a luxurious type of travel excursion or vacation, or planning one could be a really great way to escape from the day-to-day mundane reality of your work routines. But this could also be a really great week for you to branch out and to learn something new, especially on a creative level that could benefit the work that you do down in the 6th house on your day-to-day basis. This is a great time for higher education, especially related to creative and spiritual pursuits. And so that would be a really great way. So indulge your mind this week. Indulge your quest for knowledge and for understanding and for gaining higher wisdom and a higher perspective on life. Maybe, indulge in a book that you've been really wanting to read about some sort of religious value system or philosophy, or escape into some sort of mental adventure if you can't do a real physical adventure this week. And so, those are all things that can be beneficial, but this is a great week for creative and spiritual mental activity and allowing your intuition to guide you and not overanalyzing things. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, this is happening in your in your 8th house, which is the house of joint finances. It's the house of debt. It's the house of sex and death and other people's money and power struggles and all sorts of fun stuff. Scorpio stuff. So this is a great week for you to indulge in deep intimacy and partnership, right? Forming deeper bonds and connections and relationships. This is also a great week for you to work on coming back into balance when it comes to financial situations involving joint partnership. There could be an energy of maybe, somebody in partnership with you overindulging financially and overindulging in, luxury purchases or something along those lines. And so, maybe this is a week to kind of come back into balance there, or maybe just to enjoy it. Maybe you wouldn't buy it for yourself, so they did it, right? So that could be something that comes up for you as well. But this is really a great time to form deep spiritual bonds and connections in romantic partnerships, or to form deeper intimacy and to have more creative connection with your children, because there is that energy coming from the 5th house of children. And so, you can get to know your children on a deeper level. You can, form closer bonds with them, and you can, indulge in play and fantasy and doing things that are fun, and especially escaping into a fantasy world. That would be something that could be fun for you, if you do have children, to do with them. So doing something more fantastical, going and watching like a really crazy movie, or, playing something that involves a lot of imagination. So doing something like that. Creating stories together, doing something like painting. And even if you don't have children, these are things that you could do with yourself or in partnership that could be really a great escape. But this is a week where you're going to want to maybe spend more money and indulge on things that are a little bit more pleasurable. And you might kind of overspend or overshoot when it comes to your finances this week, or you might have that energy coming through a partnership, or there might be an overinflated sense of money coming in from an outside source, or something involving debt or other people's money. Maybe you're planning to pay something back right now and it's just not happening as quickly as you thought it would, or in the way that you thought it would come about. But utilizing your intuition for guidance when it comes to spending this week would be the best way to go about it, because things aren't necessarily always going to make sense on a logical level in these areas of life right now. All right, for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. So for Sagittarius, this has been happening, in your 1st house because Jupiter is there, but in your 7th house and in your 4th house of the home and family. And so this could be a week where it could be really great for you to escape by spending more time focusing on your home, your family, your property, doing creative sorts of endeavors and pursuits, and forming closer, deeper spiritual bonds with your partners and with your family members, and doing things that can facilitate that. And so this is more of like an escape into a relationship and indulging in the pleasure of just enjoying somebody else's company, bouncing ideas off of somebody, doing something in partnership with somebody else. This is a very charitable, compassionate energy toward your partners as well. And so, even if you're not in partnership, this can be channeled into feeling much more charitable, much more compassionate, much more empathic toward all the people that you're close with in your life. And so if you want to understand somebody more deeply and fully, if you want to put yourself in their shoes, now's the time when you can do that more easily. And you can form those close bonds. And definitely this is a time where you're going to feel more giving when it comes to the people that you connect with, especially the people that you're really close with. This is also an energy where you might have high expectations for a relationship or a contract or a commitment that you've made. And even though it doesn't meet your expectations when it comes to fruition, you still have a lot of great benefits. So just know that, if you feel a little disappointed about something, it doesn't mean it's bad, especially in relationship or in a contractual agreement or related to your home and property. It just means that, you were shooting a little higher than what was realistic, and that's completely okay, but there's still definitely benefits coming to you this week. So that's the energy for Sagittarius, and this is going to be the strongest energy for people who have Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, rising around that 18th degree. So again, anywhere from 15 to 21 degrees will feel this the most. And so those energies, by the way, around those degrees, you might just be feeling really lazy. So it might just be more like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit back and relax and, watch a movie and zone out, or, go on some sort of retreat or learn some sort of new skill where I can just kind of, really go off into that land and not focus on the day-to-day reality of work or something like that. And that might be the case too. So Sagittarius might be feeling sleepier, more foggy, a little bit lazier, a little bit more self-indulgent. And, that's not going to last for a very long time. So maybe enjoy it while it's here. Just don't overdo it and neglect your responsibilities, and it'll be great. All right. So for Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this energy with Venus is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health and work and daily routines. And so this is a really great time for compassionate communication and connection with people in your work environment. And this is a time when you're going to feel much more empathic and much more loving and connected to the people that you work with, to people that you employ, right? Toward your employees. You might feel overly empathic or compassionate toward them. Maybe you have an employee who's going through a really hard time, and it hurts you to see them feel that way. So maybe you over give and you do a little too much to make it feel better, to the point of martyring yourself or something along those lines. So just be aware of that. But this could be a time where you can feel much more compassionate toward yourself and toward your health and your body and your fitness, and you maybe want to escape by, indulging in foods that are much more nutritious, or indulging in some sort of, body work or something like that, like getting a massage or going and getting acupuncture, or going to a spa, or going to like a sauna or something like that could be a really great energy for Capricorns right now. And you might need it. You've got a lot going on with that stellium in your sign with Saturn and Pluto in the south node. So this is a great time for you to escape. And this would be a great time to go and do something that helps you to explore and expand your horizons on a mental level when it comes to your spiritual studies or your spiritual pursuits, or even creative types of mental pursuits that could be really beneficial for you, especially if you channel that into your work. So this is a really great time for creativity in the workplace, and for sort of going with the flow. It's a time where you can come back into balance and equilibrium with your work. So, just don't overdo it, and allow this time for just kicking back a little bit, relaxing, allowing things to unfold, not pushing so hard when it comes to your work life. All right, and then Aquarius and Aquarius rising. This is happening in your 5th house, which is the house of joy. It's the house of pleasure and fun and hobbies and interests and the things that you do because you love to do them. And so what a great place to have Venus and this Neptune square and Jupiter all happening. This is a great time for you to engage in your creative passions, to learn a new skill that's creative, and maybe do so in partnership with somebody else. So maybe connect with somebody on that level. This is a great time for romance. You might overindulge in spending on things that feel good or that are fun for you, or like your hobbies, your interests, the things that you do because you love to do them. There might be a sense of, money's just kind of flowing in and then flowing right out because you're channeling it into this area, but you're going to feel like you're having fun and it's going to feel good and you're going to enjoy it. So, that's part of it too. And this could be a time where maybe you could go out and do something really fun with a group of people, with friends. So you can engage in your hobbies and interests and just engage in play. This is a great week for you to just kick back, relax, and enjoy things that are fun for you. Things that you connect with on a heart level, things that you're really passionate about, your creative pursuits. And this could be a great time for connecting with children or your children, if you have any, and doing things that are really creative and explorative and engaging in very fantastical forms of play. And so that could be fun too. So that's Aquarius and Aquarius rising. And then for Pisces and for Pisces rising. So this energy is happening partially in your sign. So if you are a Pisces rising with your rising sign or your sun sign around that 18th degree, so again, anywhere from 15 to 21 degrees, you might be feeling this the most. And you might just feel super lazy this week. You just want to kick back and relax and indulge in a fantasy world, or, binge watch Netflix, or, drink some wine, or, whatever it is that you do to kick back and relax. Just make sure you're not overdoing it. This is a great time for you to rest. You might not have as much physical energy, but when it comes to your imagination, and when it comes to your creativity, and when it comes to your energy for exploring things that are more spiritual, you have that going on right now, and you might be feeling much more intuitive and much more sensitive on all levels. And when you're feeling that sensitive, when you have this strong Neptunian energy going on already, because you're a Pisces, but in your sign, now's the time when that might be hyper inflated, and you might need time to rest and to turn yourself off a little bit, because you can't always be on and you can't always be interacting with people and different energies and situations when you have such a strong Neptune transit going on, because you're just going to feel burnt out, because you're feeling and picking up on everybody's stuff all the time. So you're going to feel much more sensitive, and you're going to hold on to that, and you're going to have to take time in your own space to decompress and to let go of what's not yours energetically, and be just mindful of the environments that you're putting yourself in right now. This could be a really great time though for you to spend time at home. Venus is in your 4th house. Spend time at home, do something creative, indulge in some sort of creative project in your home environment, connect with your family members in a way that's loving and compassionate, because you're going to feel much more empathic and much more interconnected with the people that you grew up with, or your family members. And so this is a great time for that. And this is a great time for beautifying your home. So doing something where you're renovating or redecorating, or maybe even painting, because that's, again, a Pisces energy and a Neptune energy. So doing something where you're making your home more beautiful and making it into this beautiful little safe sanctuary where you can go to hide out and indulge in escaping from the day-to-day reality of whatever it is you're facing in your life, because everybody's facing something stressful at any given point in time. And so, kick back, relax, spend some time at home, especially, at the start of this week. And I think it'll help to revitalize and recharge your batteries. All right. And so that is the forecast for all 12 signs. Like I said before, it's kind of a chill week. We're definitely still feeling the energy from last week. We're definitely still feeling the energy for next week too, coming into the eclipse season. So it might not feel light and fluffy for everyone, but there is a chance to take a breather and a chance to just kind of relax and again, to escape and to indulge in something that feels good at the start of this week. And I think that that's going to be a really important thing, an important method of self-care for a lot of people who are going through a lot of stuff right now, because I know a lot of people are. And so I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any questions, you can comment down below, or any comments or whatever it is that you want to say. I like reading your comments. And if you want to book a personal reading with me where we go through your birth chart and all the different placements and what that means, where we highlight your strengths and your weaknesses, and we dive into it all, we can do that. As always, the link is down in the description below, and I will see you guys next week. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter, I do have the link in the description below too. So, because I know I mentioned that at the start of this video, and I don't remember if I told you that the link is there. So I will see you guys next week, and thank you again. Bye.